Hello, Flickering Myth family and all you diehard Scream fans. My name is EJ Marino and we have a movie review. I'm going to be jumping into the brand new film, Scream. 2022 is bringing on a brand new entry into the long-running Scream franchise. I am going to be pretty honest here, I am a bit biased because I love the Scream films. I have gone on record, even in a video on this channel, calling Scream the best slasher franchise. And with the fifth entry, I still think it's a pretty great damn franchise. While this movie is not my favorite in the franchise, I definitely have some minor tweaks I would make to this film. Overall, it was a pretty great movie. I had all of the laughs, all of the thrills, all of the chills, and wow, was this way gorier than any other Scream film. This had a bit of everything that I wanted. There was still social commentary about the genre, about, just life in general, so I love that that was there. The way they treated the legacy characters, I thought that was very interesting, and the new characters, for the most part, are pretty great. Going into a new Scream film, especially without Wes Craven, I was very nervous, but by the end of this, I was pretty confident that if we wanted to make another Scream movie, we might be in good hands. RIP to Wes Craven, one of the best horror filmmakers, but it's good to know his long-running franchise could go on just a bit longer. 2022 Scream follows a new group of characters. We have our legacy characters like Gale, Dewey, and Sidney who are still here, but there is a central focus on two sister characters. We have Sam and Tara. Tara is the one who is, not going to spoil too much, but in the opening attack, she is a big part of this film, and then her sister has to come and help with all of the craziness that's in the intro. Sam, who is the sister, has been out of the family for a bit. She has an estrangedness to Woodsboro, to her family, so when she's getting drawn back in by what happens to her sister, she is now kind of falling into the new Ghostface killer's plans, and it is pretty fun. There's twists and turns in this film. The only thing I will say about plot-wise is, if you've seen a Scream film, this isn't the hardest to figure out. There is a lot going on. There is a lot of fun to be had. There's a lot of twists and turns, but each time I was just like, that's exactly what I thought you would do. So that's the weird thing is, I find it to be a slight bit predictable. We have the group of people, and then with Sam trying to figure out what the hell is happening with her sister's group of friends. Then we have the legacy characters who are like, yeah, no, we've dealt with this enough times. Let me try to tell you what to do. Yeah, I really like this, and I thought it was a good plot, but if you've seen one, you're definitely gonna go, yes, of course, this, and this. You start putting the pieces together. I was still enjoying the third act, especially when the killer reveal happens, but I will say I was a bit like, I figured, and that was the only thing. I wanted to be completely shocked. I wanted to have my mind blown, but none of the Scream movies have ever been the most mind-blowing experience, so that's a bit on par. Those are fun murder mysteries, but they're not the hardest thing. This isn't like an Agatha Christie novel. You're not going to be able to wow, that was it? You start going and putting your pieces together, but some people might not. Some people will just kind of blankly watch this and be shocked by the end. I think that's that's the interesting experience, is the give and take. There is going to be some fans who know everything about Scream who could figure this out, and there's going to be some who are a bit more casual that's going to enjoy the ride. Either way, it's a fun ride. Something that I did enjoy in this film, it's not like it's a new concept, but this was a great commentary on the state of horror and actually just film in general. That's what I was really into in this movie. There's some really fun conversations. We know all of them have always talked about horror films, but nowadays, we've jumped a lot. Even from the 2011, I think, that Scream 4 came out, we've jumped a lot. While that was a bit more focused on the rise of social media, now in this film, social media is a commonplace, so it doesn't need to focus on it. What this one is about, we're going back to the horror roots. This is about the requels, which are the remake sequels that are so popular nowadays. You think of the Halloween film. There's also some conversations about fandom and obsessed fans and fans who feel like they control the franchises. I love that. That's going to piss some people off, but I thought it was great. What I also loved is the kind of fun shade at elevated horror. You hear that term, you kind of roll your eyes, especially if you're a big horror fan, because it feels like some people are trying to diminish the genre. Elevated horror would be things like Hereditary or The Babadook or those more serious horror films. There is a bit of that conversation in here. So again, that's what I very much love. Even without Wes Craven, even without Kevin Williamson crafting the scripts, they're still on point with what they should be talking about. I thought that was enjoyable. The conversations about evil parts of fandoms and obsessed fans, that was great. I thought that was such a fun evolution because I really like Scream 4, but that whole I want to get famous off social media stuff, it felt Screamish, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. Here, the killer's motivations are a bit, it's a kind of what I wanted. It's based within horror, but it's still playing on generational trauma, which is very like prevalent even in like the Slumber Party Massacre remake, even in the new Halloween. You still see those kind of conversations here, and I did like that they included that, but there was so much more. If you're a fan of horror, or at least a fan of cinema and talking about it, you're going to enjoy some of the really good moments here. If you've dealt with crazy Marvel or Star Wars fans in your life, you're going to enjoy some of the conversations here. If you are just a fan of slashers, this has such a good love letter quality. It's still not, okay, I still think the Wes Craven first film is a classic in the way it talks about it. I really like Scream 2 in its commentary on sequels, so I do think this ranks pretty high up in terms of that, but I do think this has a lot to offer, and horror fans are going to eat this up. This section is normally where I put my negatives, and I don't have too many for this film. Is every character my favorite? No, I think some of them are a bit weaker, and that's like in the acting department, that's also in the script, but other than that, I have way more positives, like the sound design, the way they use like the score, and the way they use the tension that you're gonna get building up to a jump scare, and then they like release it and they don't go that route. It is so good. Sound design is so important in horror films, and they really use it to their advantage here. I also like the uptick in gore. I am a gore hound. I'm a big Friday the 13th fan, so that's kind of my background. I like the gory, fun kills. This one did not disappoint. Definitely upped the gore, the shock value of this. Very good. There's one kill at the end that was, it's a bit fiery, it's a bit crazy, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's not where I expected any of this to go. So I definitely thought that was a fun perk here. So the sound design, the gore, love those things. I also, like I said, I love the return of the legacy characters. Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott, like chef kiss. She is one of the most perfect characters in any horror franchise. She's so good. She's so strong. Yes, she has the trauma and all this tragedy that's happened during her life, but she kind of pushes past that, and she's a strong, badass character. Not scared to be like weak and have her moments of being vulnerable, but she's still so cool. I loved Courtney Cox in this film. I'm a big Courtney Cox fan. I love Gale Weathers, and David Arquette's here. He's fine. He doesn't do too much. He doesn't take away. He's just a good addition. He isn't as important to this film as he is, I think, some of the other ones. That's no shade on him, but I just definitely thought Dewey's character was exactly what Dewey's character needed to be. I like that. I think they treated the legacy characters well, but they were still trying to push this newer group. I thought that was fun. Did I love everyone in the newer group? Not really. You know, you pick and choose who you love. I do love the twins. Oh my goodness, they kind of stole the show. Yeah, I like this movie a lot. I wish I had more negatives. I wish I could be a bit more like, well, the cinematography, no. Like, I like the cinematography. They use the Dutch angles that they did in the first films. I like some of the stuff in here. I went into this being like, I'll be a bit more critical, but damn it, I had a good time with this slasher fun. All right, everyone, that is it for my review of the new Scream film. I very much enjoyed it, and I think you will as well. If you're a fan of the Scream films, this is going to be for you. If you happen to enjoy slasher movies, you're going to enjoy this. Overall, this is a good way of kicking off the year for horror fans. I saw another movie that started this year. I'm going to ignore this. To me, Scream is the real launch of 2022 films. So what do you guys think? Are you excited for the new Scream movie? If you've happened to see it, let me know what you think down in the comments below, but do not spoil anything. Ghostface will come after you if you do some spoilers. So, alright guys, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you guys give us some comments, give us a thumbs up, and let's talk about Scream down below.